Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers. Welcome to Life, the battlefield, where we explore the front lines of life's biggest challenges and victories. In this episode today of Life, the battlefield, I sit down with the powerhouse behind Indigo Finance. Her name is Melanie Cunliffe. From the UK to Bermuda and finally to Australia. Melanie's story is one of pure resilience and bold leadership. She's shaking up the mortgage world and empowering women in business, all while sharing priceless financial insights. Her journey and dedication to positive change will leave you inspired. Don't miss this electrifying episode. Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers to podcast Life, the battlefield. And today you're gonna learn what it takes to be successful in business, but not just any business. Business involves a lot of money, which is necessary for our good life. As well, you're gonna learn the tricks of the trade, how to survive today, very volatile, very uncertain times ahead of us right now. And I have a special guest in my studio. I need to apologize. I'm going to pronounce her surname my way, Mario's way, as you know. Melanie Cunliffe. Melanie, welcome to the podcast, Life the Battlefield.
Thank you, Mario.
Correct me the surname.
Cunliffe.
I said this. I prefer my way, so it's a Cunliffe, okay. Melanie, first of all, thank you for coming on this rainy, wet day in this studio. It takes a lot of time and challenges to come and travel during the rains in Sydney. So it speaks the volume about you. So thank you. That's a first and foremost. Now, I'd like to start with your age, 12. Okay, I saw your resume.
I thought you were going to ask me my age, Mario.
No. I'm going to ask my friend Jodi Finnan. She's going to tell me everything. So the question I do have for you, it says that you started working with the money at age 12. Okay, where the most of us dreaming about other things, me being a spaceship, be the astronaut, going to moon, other kids doing some other things. But money, it's precise field. Mm-hmm. So, okay, born in England.
Yeah.
Okay. You couldn't rob the bank at age 12, so you start. You tried.
Didn't quite work out.
Did you done that famous train robbery in England as well? You told me that you and your friend Jodi has the big stash somewhere. So we're going to come to this later. So, Melanie, introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, thank you, Mario. So my name's Melanie Cunliffe. I have a business now called Indigo Finance, and we specialise in mortgages. So that's lending, across the residential and commercial space. Never what I saw myself doing. My background was more sales, marketing, events, but made the move to Australia in 2005 and kind of landed myself in it, and here I still am today.
May I ask you what possessed you to move in Australia from England? I know that, okay, I give you something. I have a client in Nottingham, still today, and every time when I go there, I just can't wait to get out because it's always rain, it's always grey, it's always unhappy. So that's my view of England, but you're born with that weather. So why Australia?
The main reason was two of my best mates were living here.
Okay.
Yeah. But I left in the UK when I was about 13 and lived in Bermuda for many years. So I think for me also I got used to that outdoor lifestyle. I got used to not grey skies. I got used to the blue. Yeah. And then when I went back to England afterwards, it wasn't quite how I pictured it. And like I say, my two best mates had moved to Australia. So it seemed like a natural choice. I wasn't getting left behind.
Well, that's age 13. That's a quite young age to embark on an adventure, which is adventure. Have you been afraid?
Yeah, it was huge for me at the time. I think, at that time, especially when you're, settling into high school, you're kind of forming yourself and your character and your friend groups. Yes. And then all of a sudden moving from there into a completely different culture. Yes. A different place, a different way of life, different people. Yeah, that was, I think, a big journey for me in shaping who I was at a time in life where you're kind of just figuring that out.
So when you landed in Australia, what was your first impression? You come in this country. Look, Bermuda, it's quite interesting place. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
It's a quite intimate personal question, Bermuda related. Is there really things disappearing over there? Or is it just a joke? Share with our audience, please. Live to Butterfield. Should we be afraid of
if
the
I
Bermuda?
had $1 for every time I was asked that question.
Okay, I tried. You know, like. Now in Australia, what was your first job, Melanie?
My first job in Australia was a waitress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why waitress?
My friends were doing it.
Okay.
It was easy. It was the first thing that I picked up. Yeah. And I love engaging with people. I love talking to people. So.
You love talking to people.
Yeah.
So how this brought you to the finances? You know what I mean? So like, speaks a lot about you. You said you were afraid. You know what I mean? Of course, it's natural to be afraid. Many people say, no, I'm not afraid. But you were afraid.
Yeah.
Bermuda, Australia. You know what I mean? First job coming in Australia, it's being waitress. What pushed you in the direction to become person working in the finance industry today?
So my entrance into the finance industry was actually through marketing. So I had a marketing background, and I actually met who was my boss then in the cafe.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
And they happened to be looking for someone in marketing, and we started talking. And I came on board with them. They were a mortgage manager, so they had franchisees across Australia. Okay. So we did the marketing, from the head office and corporate level, and helped the different franchisees, with their marketing. And I stayed there for 5 years and learned a lot of different aspects about mortgages. That was something completely new to me. And at that time, like even, being in Australia was new to me. So I can remember when we'd be speaking to these franchisees, I had a big map of Australia on my desk. Right?
Okay.
Because they'd be like, oh, it's Bob from Perth. And I'd be going, oh,
I like your honesty. This is what separates you from many people I'm meeting on daily basis. Everybody reassuring me how smart and the savvy they are. You see, you and I, I come to Australia in 98, a little bit earlier than you are.
Yeah.
And I remember there was no GPS, it was a UBD, what's it called, the booklets and CBD. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to read this? You know what I mean? But then it's another person look the map. So what was your biggest challenges when you entered the industry at first?
I think the biggest challenge was entering a completely new country.
Okay.
A new culture.
Yeah.
And not knowing even just some of the lingo that people would be talking about, and entering a new industry. I had no idea about finance from that perspective or mortgages. So it was a whole new industry for me to learn.
Look, I think that's a very cutthroating industry because I know, once upon a time, my family and I will buy the house, and everybody has a better deal for you. Like I say, oh my God, how many mortgage agents are there? I mean, in the flip flops, in the suits, like in the speedos, in a vest, like everybody was different flavors over there on the market. But my question says here that when you move here, you become one of the highest achievers. You got recognition from Choice Platinum Achiever, Best Customer Service Office, Australia Mortgage Awards, Top 100 Business for LMG Loan Market Group. Now, you didn't become this for working for somebody else. You become this for working for yourself.
Yeah.
So obviously there was transition. Can you lead us this transition? What pushed you or instigate that decision? So, okay, enough working for somebody else, I want to work for myself.
Yeah. It was an interesting journey because it probably wasn't instigated actually by me.
Okay, no?
It was instigated by my boss.
Can I just guess, don't tell me if everybody put the $1 for that question. Did your boss told you to leave, or your boss was not nice to you?
No. He told me you should go do this. I had a lot of ideas. It was interesting because it was an interesting time in finance. Yeah. We'd had GFC, and in mortgage management space, you're funded by other funders. So funding had dried up. So there was a lot of change that was going on. And, at that time, I had a lot of ideas and things that we could do, and what about this and what about that? And, the business was in a different stage, and he was like, You should go do this.
You think that's a positive? This was a positive idea of you should move, or it was like,
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's still a good mentor to me today.
Very nice.
Yeah. After all these years, he would still be my go-to.
Okay, when we speak about mentors now, how important it is for us to have the mentor, and what quality mentor should have if someone seeks the mentor. We don't talk about life coaches, business coaches, all these things. I talk about mentor.
Yeah. I believe having a mentor is highly important and very different to a coach. You know, I think sometimes these things get confused.
Yes,
you know, I'm very passionate about coaching, but I believe that coaching comes from when we have the answers within.
Yeah.
And, you know, someone can help coach those answers out of us, and we know what we need to do. I see a mentor slightly different as someone that's walked through those footsteps before, someone that we can tap into that can share maybe some of their journeys that can help us shortcut or navigate mistakes that we might otherwise make. Someone we can go to as a sounding board, but someone that's walked through what we've been through before.
You know, there's something interesting about you, it is that you're smiling all the time. You know what I mean? I really like people who, you know, bring that smile into conversation, because it speaks the energy inside. And that's something I really appreciate now about you when you explain about mentors. So guys, if you're looking for the mentor, I'm going to put in the comment section below Melanie details. You know, she can explain to you what you need to look in mentors. Or maybe you can ask Melanie to become your mentor. After all, at age 13, moving from England to Bermuda, we still don't know people disappearing, ships, airplanes over there. But then moving to Australia, the first job being the waitress, 70 people, communicate with the people, and then moving into the mortgage industry in one of the most difficult times I had was GFC 2008. Tell me more about the GFC.
It was a very interesting time. I think for me, for not having that background in finance, and you know, we were seeing a lot of high interest rates, and it was a time in the mortgage management space where clients would know the name, the brand being the mortgage brand. At that time, they didn't really get the concept that there was a funder behind it. So seeing a lot of our client services team, you know, having to explain to people, well, no, your loan's actually funded by someone else, was really interesting. And seeing a lot of strife, and I think what a big thing I took away from that time is when people get in trouble, they're also going to try and pin things on wherever they can, to try and get themselves out. So I think that's been a huge lesson that I've taken away for us and within the business, is making sure that we're always covering our bases, making sure that we're always covering things from a compliance perspective, because it's great when things are really rosy. But, you know, when we do go through financial strife, things can shift and things can change.
You were like doing like a what's it called? What's this? In a bullseye, you're saying something very interesting. Everything is rosy. Everybody's happy, right? That's some of the things I want to talk to you about. Money. When the money flowing, everybody's very happy, and I mean, everybody's a big idea person, and you know, knowledge and everything else. But if things are not so rosy, there is not so many of them on the market actually whispering what should be done. Instead of this, they're blaming everybody else. Now, I like how you take the pride and, you know, accountability about this as a business owner, that you say, like, I need to cover my bases with my clients because I know what's going to happen, and they know what to expect. Now, money, it's necessity in life, and a lot of people wanted to be the rich. They want to be the business owners. Being the business owner, what was your biggest hurdle you experienced? So your boss told your mentor, look, Melanie, I think you should take these ideas, you know what I mean, in your direction. And then you started I presume, the Indigo Finance, right?
Yeah.
What was your biggest hurdle in starting business?
Around the time of starting the business, I think it was having the time to be strategic. You know, it was, you know, we were blessed to get busy really quickly. You know, and then it was about, you know, just juggling the balls and catching things, and, you know, trying to keep things running. But that didn't leave very much time for the strategy piece. So, you know, one of the challenges then was, okay, well, we need to get more support. Okay, let's plug someone in there. Let's plug someone in there. Let's plug someone in there. And the business growing in that way versus taking a step back and going, right, how do we want to plan and shape this business and then grow it in that way? So I think that was a challenge. The other challenge would be then when bringing on staff is, you kind of tend to think that then you just need to manage them. Yes. Whereas, I hadn't necessarily had management training. It wasn't something I'd invested in myself for.
I like this about you. See, like, this is what I say to people with my business, I run in the other business and I have 400 people working for me there.
Wow.
And, but the thing is, like, I've never been actually educated how to hire the people. Yeah. I was doing everything, on the go, and I have more mistakes than I can say, like, successes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When somebody starts a business, if you want to give them a 5-step plan, what that would be? Somebody comes to you and say, hi, Mel, my name is Mario Bekes, and I want to start my business, which I'm running investigations, but can you help me 5 steps for the best foundation to start my business? What would you suggest?
I'd say number 1 would start with why.
Okay.
Really understanding, why am I doing this?
Yes.
Is it just that I like the idea of having a business, or is it that I want to achieve an exit plan and a strategy to get out of this? It's a succession plan. Yeah. How long do I foresee having this business for? What would I like to grow it to? So I'd say number 1 is the why.
Yes.
Number 2 would be having a plan. And putting a plan in place, even if it's just a 1-pager or 2-pager.
Oh, I like it, what you say.
But it's about getting your thoughts out and getting them, I think, onto paper so that you can digest those and see, is this going to work? What does this look like? Yeah. But so that then when you do start that business, you can go, okay, great. Because it's very easy to get distracted, I think, and rabbit hole down things.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say that would be step 2.
Yes. Step 3?
Step 3 would be dive in and have a go. And
so go there, don't wait for the perfect moment, yes.
Yeah, I see sometimes people like, I need to have this big CRM or, I need to have this, and they want all these things to be perfectly aligned, whereas it's like, just jump in and start, and if it works, great, then figure some things out afterwards,
That's a good one. Look, guys, you getting for free the most valuable advice from somebody who's running for so long the business. And also, like Melanie today with us in studio, secret location on this podcast, Live the Battlefield, sharing her insights, and was the most important, abundant knowledge of ups and downs, how to run the business, why to run the business, and what you can expect or not expect. Somebody who paid, I can't say blood, tears and pain, but I would say, like, there was not always, rosy. But
absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you for being honest. Now, let's talk about money. Money. Look, finances, homes, mortgages. Why people fail miserably with the money? That's my question. Why the people don't know how to deal with the money? I'll just give you just quick update, also compare this one. Robert Kiyosaki, the guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I done the podcast about him, and it turns out that guy, he's actually bankrupt, owes $1.2 billion, and, he's not a guy I want to take advice and say to everybody else, but from you, I want your advice. Tell me, why do people fall short with their own money, and why they don't know how to invest money, keep the money, hold the money, save the money, invest?
I believe it comes a lot down to what your relationship with money is.
Okay, can you just explain a little bit this one? What is your relationship?
So, do you like money?
And you ask me.
But are you scared of money?
I never had a question. I was scared of money.
Would you be scared of borrowing money? When we look at big numbers of money, for some people that can be intimidating.
Okay.
So, I think particularly in our space, in the lending space, something that I often see is maybe people have a fear around money, a fear around borrowing money, a fear around the number that it is, and go, I couldn't borrow that. It's not that I'm a debt pusher by any means, but leveraging and borrowing money is something that people have done for years and years and years, that has led to them creating wealth in their journey and having a positive relationship with money.
I will absolutely say I concur with you, because people who are successful and who are they have the successful businesses and they create. As I said, I'll talk about Trump. People like him or not like him, but he says, my father left me $400 million and he turned this into billions of dollars, and he has a lot of bankruptcies and anything else. But he wasn't afraid to invest the money.
Yes.
And I said to myself, like, you can't just hold the money, in the kitty under the pillow and expecting it's going to happen a miracle. It's going to grow overnight.
Yeah.
So can you educate people how to be friends with the money?
So I would say something, firstly, considering, you talked about investments. Let's take property, for instance.
Yes, please.
Right? So, let's say we have $100,000.
Yeah.
We can put $100,000 in the bank and we can earn an interest rate off that. Let's say it's 5%.
Yes.
Right? So, for years and years, we might get 5% of 100,000 and it might appreciate. But when we put money in something like property, the leverage is so high. Because while we might put in 100,000, let's say it's $1 million property and we've borrowed money from the bank.
Yes.
But the 5%, let's use if it was growing by the same as the money, the 5% is on $1 million, not on the 100,000. So the leverage that we get when we borrow can really expedite and escalate. And that's where we see people, for instance, like you mentioned, like Trump, and people that are investing, it's so that we can grow that quicker, because it take a long, long time to grow 5% on 100,000 to necessarily reach those same goals.
You are just nailed this one. So let me just reshape the question from not being afraid with the money or not with the money. What people should do now with the money today?
So I'm not a financial planner, so full disclosure, I can't tell people what to do with their money. But if somebody is, for instance, looking at borrowing, something that we will suggest is looking at the cash flow, because cash flow is king, right? If we could go out and borrow a huge amount of money, but if we can't service the debt, or if we're not comfortable with that level of borrowing and we can't sleep at night because it's draining us from a cash flow perspective, there is no point doing it, right? But if we can get comfortable with, okay, I can map out, this is what this cash flow is going to look like, I can afford that, I feel comfortable with that, then we can get comfortable with, I can do that investment because I feel confident about it. I can maybe go and buy that property. I know how much it's going to cost me per month to hold it, and I feel comfortable with it because I've gone through it. So my big thing would be look at the cash flow. It's really, really interesting. We find as a pattern between, for instance, male and female, let's say.
Yes.
If we're looking at borrowing, let's say we're looking at borrowing $1 million. Often we might find that a female might look at that and go, $1 million, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
I can't borrow that,
Yeah.
A male will often look at it and go, how much is it going to cost me per month?
I like it. That, yes. Yeah.
So they think of things like that, that cash flow piece versus the bigger number. Whereas, when we, for instance, break down, and a lot of what we do is breaking down that fear of, okay, it might be a big amount of money, but let's walk through it. Let's break it down. What's it going to cost? What's, for instance, your rental income on an investment property going to be? What's the what's the costs going to be? Okay, let's make sure we've got a buffer. And often when we're doing that, we're finding that people are like, oh my gosh, that's so achievable. I can do that, Even though they would have walked away from that big number, but when we break it down, they go, I can do that. And that's really empowering.
Today it's my very first day as seeing you. I never met you in my life before. And I will go any day of the year, talk to you about money, about investment, mortgages, because you're displaying another thing which I don't see many people. It's a passion for what they're doing, and you continuously with a smile on your face, with a passion explaining those things. And that's what I think society should realize, who you're going to buy from, who you're going to involve in your life. And that's what the people who are passionate about you and you are passionate about your product, your services, which is good for me as a client, metaphorically speaking. So thank you for being that fun. I have the little bit the question related to employment. You are member of leading ladies community, right? And when we prepare for this interview, I say, Mel, I like to ask you, Melanie, I shortened your name already, like we're good friends, Mel. So,
Feel free.
okay. So when we discuss it, what some questions I'm going to ask you, I have the very powerful question to ask because I want other women be equipped and armed to understand. And you are the member of leading ladies community. Now, being the woman in the men's world and equal employment opportunities in mortgage industry for the women, can you just share your view how things they are? Because being a woman in the men's world is difficult. I'm saying this to you. I say this to us as a man as well. Men are big talkers. We are not nothing else with our women, but we try to prove ourselves like how we are better than women. But being a woman in mortgage industry, being the leading advocate for equal employment opportunity, your perspective, your opinion, your views, women in the industry.
Do you know, take a guess, what percentage do you think in the mortgage industry, in mortgage brokers, are female? What would you think the percentage is?
In all honesty, you're the first one I'm seeing in my life.
Right.
No, frankly, like around my business since GFC happened. So 2009, I lost everything in family business and, everything, blah, blah, home. I was looking for a lot of business networking events, of course, but I never met a female mortgage broker.
Interesting.
So you're the first one. Yeah. That's a truth. And I can say, I don't know nobody.
Yeah. So it's 25%.
Wow. Is that all?
25%.
Why is that? Is this because the guys think they're better than women, or what's the fear? Why no more women?
I think there's a few reasons. I think in some ways it can relate back to...
You answer the way you think it's appropriate, you know what I mean? If you don't want to use the language I'll use instead of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And it is a predominantly male industry, and that can, I think for some women, be intimidating. I think there's also, too, sometimes a mismatch in the perception of how mortgage broking is presented. So,
oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So it might be attracting people in the industry to say, hey, it's really flexible. You can work it around the kids. You can work part-time. It'll be really, really easy. And some people come into this industry, women, thinking that. And it is certainly not the case. Yes, you can have flexibility, but you need to be on all the time for your clients. We've got things where there's tight deadlines. You've got clients that are going to auction. You really need to make things happen. To say that this can be just done, very casually is, I think, a huge understatement. And it's interesting because while we're attracting females into the industry, our retention rates are not good.
I say something in defense of all women. I watch it. I try to understand what's happened GFC. Because morning I wake up, I was working corporate world, and I come Monday morning and with my coffee, like pretending I'm and I just got the envelope. My desk was being cleaned. I come home, my wife then she says I've been retrenched as well. I was like, what do you mean? A month later, sheriff on the door and everything's gone down. So try to take a big interest what's happened there, right? And every documentary I was watching about these mortgage brokers was always male dominant, prostitutes, drugs, cocaine, whatever you want to call. There's so many of them, right? I said to myself, where are the women? How is all these blogs there, right? You know what I mean? And everybody was crying at the end, I didn't mean it, So I congratulate you for surviving that world. How that can be changed? That 25% be 50%.
I believe it's a bit of repositioning about what it means to be in the mortgage industry and to be a mortgage broker. It's such a great role that you can play in someone's life, and I think there's such an entrepreneurial side of it. Whether you're a business owner or not, I don't think it makes a difference. Being in that role, in that position, and being able to empower your clients, and lead them, is a very entrepreneurial opportunity. So I think instead of pitching this as being, it's flexible or you can work it around things, hang on, let's position it for what it is. this is an opportunity to really help people, you know, and to really lead people and to, you know, be in a position, where you can really grow and you can really leverage off that and you can grow as a human. And for people that love interacting with people, like it's just, you know, you're getting to speak to people all day long.
I just love your energy, seriously. Like I'm glad that Jodi Finnan, she introduced us. I really do. I think the world needs more people like yourself. And seriously, I don't say this every day. I don't say this very often. But one thing I can recognize that it is the people's passion for life. You know what I mean? And that's what you're doing, displaying professionalism. You know, you want to help the clients and customers. Now, health. I want to just shift a little bit now from office environment to the health. I always say that health is the most valuable currency in life. Without health, I have a good friend of mine, Professor Dr. Liz Isnering, and she says she has a lot of clients who invested all their life into wealth. Now they want into health, but it's too late. How do you keep yourself healthy?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you help? You walk in 25,000 steps per day?
Not always.
No, I was like, I know that somebody, her name is Jodi Finnan. She does 25,000 steps per day. She's insane.
That's just every second day.
So how important health for you it is, and how you keep yourself healthy mentally, physically, psychologically?
I believe health is huge.
Okay.
We're strong believers, you know, within the business and the team of, you know, being in peak performance. It's not just about the skills that we know. We need to be, you know, really, really in our peak performance if we're going to be able to operate and do it in a state that we enjoy as well. So we're very big, I would say, on the team on mindset, which I believe is a huge part of health. It's us having a healthy mindset towards what we're doing. And, you know, because we go through a lot of things, I would say, stressful from a mental perspective when we're dealing with deadlines, when we're dealing with banks that sometimes aren't quite the easiest, let's say. You know,
I don't think so.
We're often the meat in the sandwich, right? We've got the client here, we've got the bank here. I just want to say, like, you
are the ham in the middle, you know what I mean? Like a toast one side, the other side.
So we do a lot within the team of, okay, how can we maintain our mental health? How can we build, and you know, within ourselves to be able to look at situations, be able to problem solve, be able to be resilient, be able to, you know, step back and not necessarily have emotion come into these situations, you know, and how to be able to judge them so that things don't necessarily stress us out. You know, one of the big things we experienced, I would say, within the business during COVID was there was so much anxiety. There was so much volatility, you know, especially in the mortgage space. You know, people looking at their interest rates, looking at their repayments. How am I going to make these repayments? You know, there was a lot of strife out there, right? There was also, you know, people were getting, you know, on the COVID benefits from the government, and then how was that being viewed by the bank and what was impacting them? You know, so
there's a lot of question was there, and the answers was limited.
Yeah, it was, you know, and we had a lot of this coming in, and dealing with that energy every day, that can really affect you. So we made it our mission in the team that what we wanted to do for our clients and also ourselves was reduce VUCA. So it was about VUCA levels.
VUCA, what is that?
Yeah. So it's volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity.
Yeah.
So this was all about how can we take that out of what we're clients and what we are experiencing.
Volatility, uncertainty, and ambiguity, right?
Yes.
I remember, you remind me of somebody in my life, you know, previous life. You know, I spent 14 years in military, you know, and anyway, and we have some commanding officers will come in the morning, and you say like yourself, oh God, I just don't want to, you know, talk to him, because you can see he come pissed off from home 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So obviously wife, she's bash him or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So he walks in a meeting and, you know, he just hated this moment. There's some of my commanding officers, you know, you're just happy to see them like yourself now. That's what reminded me. And I said to myself, why he's not my commanding officer? You know what I mean? Because he's displaying good leadership. So now your team is always going to look high into you. How do you balance your private life, your issues, obstacles, clients, money, to be and display good leadership to your staff?
I think it's looking after yourself.
Okay.
You know, and role modeling that.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So I'm a strong believer in things like exercise. I'm a strong believer in filling your cup. So, it's great that, we put all this effort into work. But, hey, what are the things that you enjoy doing outside work that are going to refill your cup, And really understanding what that is, I think, is really, really powerful. So that if we do get to the end of the week, what are we going to do? Or if we have a big win, what are we going to do on the Saturday to celebrate?
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate for that within the team by taking it on, yourself as well and looking after yourself.
Before we end up our interview, which for I'm very grateful, the book you prefer to recommend anybody to read?
15 Commitments of Leadership.
Okay, I never heard that one. 50 commitments.
15.
15, sorry.
50 is a lot.
Sorry.
50 is a lot.
English. Mine is like, I'm deaf on right there. Online now. I couldn't hear properly. 15
commitments of
leadership. 15 commitments of leadership. I'm going to make this book now available. I'm going to put the comment section below. 15 commitments of leadership. Do you like a pizza?
Absolutely.
What toppings you don't like on pizza?
Don't like?
Yeah.
Mushrooms.
Sorry, what? What do you think about Jodi Finnan, 25,000 steps per day?
She's absolutely fabulous.
She's also fabulous. So how the people can find you and what services you're offering?
Yeah, so people can find me, reach out on LinkedIn, or just drop my name in Google and I'm sure you'll be able to find me.
So Holy Grail of the Knowledge, Dr. Google.
Absolutely.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to put in Melanie details and contact, how you can contact her on socials. And feel free to inquire all about mortgages. Those who are interested into particularly the female empowerment of women in the mortgage industry, talk to the Melanie. And as well, if you're looking for the mentor or want to know what the mentor should do it for you, feel free to contact the Melanie. Melanie, thank you very much for being my guest today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.